So here's a different video for today. I've been sounding the car. I will have a video about that at some point, but it's tedious and all that. So this video is actually different today. I am going to work on something slightly different in the engine area. So many of us end up with our recirculating pumps not working for some reason. Now usually the impeller gets stuck with a bit of rust or something and you can free it up and so on. But mine was actually beyond the point of repairing, and then there's no replacements. But thankfully a fella from the Lotus Elan Central forum said that he fitted one of these. This is a Mercedes-Benz, I think it's from one of the vans. I'll put a description in the video from what it is. And his description from this forum was very simple. It fits. So I bought one. Actually, I bought two for both of my Elans. And yes, it does have the correct fitting, as you can see from here. But there is a small problem here. It's not in a cable, and we're gonna have to modify something in the car to actually make this work. So what we've got here is the original coolant pump, and this is my replacement, and this is my bypass that I have just installed for the sake of running the car without the coolant pump while I was trying to get a replacement. So it's not a difficult job to remove this from there. It's basically hold on to this bracket with a, I think it was an M6 or an M8. It's a tiny nut. It's a bit difficult to get to it from behind when the whole car is in place because the clamshell is kind of in the way, but if you remove this air intake tube you get easy access, and if you're really desperate you can always remove this water pipe, but you don't need to remove either of them. I have removed this one from the car with the clamshell in place. It's just a bit tricky, you gotta reach behind, not a problem at all. You undo that nut, and as far as I can remember there was nothing else holding onto it, and then you undo the two clips. Removing it, trivial task, not a problem. And what this video is actually about, it's about fitting this, which isn't an Elan part. But as you can see from the dimensions, it's practically the same size. It's tiny bit longer because of the connector being at the end. But apart from that, I mean, it's a very close fit. Same alignment, same direction, as you can see here from the arrow. Yeah, same direction, everything. So yes, the guy from the Lotus forum, the Lotus Elan Central forum, definitely picked a good fit. All we have to do is fit it and find out if the wiring needs any adjustment or not. The wiring comes out from that cabling. The wire that connects to this is here. So we can move it about a bit, try to get more clearance, but the issue that we really have is that there's no way that that will reach here. So what I have to do to make this work is fabricate something, and there's an interesting case going on that, yeah, there's 4 wires going on here, and there's only 2 poles there. So I have no idea what's going on. I suspect that the 2 on the left are ground and the 2 on the right are the live ones. That kind of makes sense looking at the wires. Yes, now I could try to take apart this connector, and that may be possible, or I can just cut the wires, merge them all together into thicker wires, and just plug it. As you can see, this is a perfect fit, it just plugs. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is first of all read the manual, find out what are those extra 2 wires all about, and if they are what I expect them to be, then we're all fine. So here we have the electrical sections of the service notes, which are very helpful. Don't have a list of contents, but we gotta live with what we've got. So what we're looking for is something to do with cooling fans And we're down to circuit diagrams. So anything related to coolant, cooling fans. Cooling fan circuit is 18. So let's have a look at that. Cooling fans, number 18. And all it tells me is that the cooling pump, so there's a cooling fan left and right. There's a cooling pump, which is the one that we're actually changing. And attached to the relay with a black and slate. BS stands for black and S stands for slate, so it's a black wire with a slate one. We know it don't have a black slate, we have a black with blue ridges on it, and the ground is a black wire. Two wires, so that kind of supports the assumption that they're just 4 wires to increase the amperage without heating up things. So let's now try to just cut those wires and check that they connect to each other as we assumed. As I have so much cabling left over, what I'm going to do is actually pair them up as they were before to play completely safe. And all I have to do is just get about this much extra cabling, so I'll be cutting these first and then starting to put everything together. Okay, that's all the wire I'm going to need. Can take this back. Now the dreaded part. Cutting something that came from factory. Okay. So now I can take this to the workbench and do the wiring in there, which I will. I have to be careful to keep the blue lines here so I know which ones are the ones that I'm going to connect to red. But this is just a minor detail. Now, what I'm going to do is red to black with blue dots, because I believe that not to be ground, but it doesn't really matter as long as they all line up at the end. But red on there, the other red also goes in the other one, so those two go into red, blacks stay to blacks just for consistency. What I'm going to do is separate these completely now and then pair up the reds and put a bit of tape holding them together, but this makes my job a little bit easier. Right, so I have two options here which I forgot to mention. I could just put some connectors here. Instead of soldering this, put a male, female, and then a male in here, make an extension, and then it would work. And if I ever found myself an original one, and I needed it, I could just replace with the original back, and just put the connectors back into the old connection. But yeah, for £30, I think I stick with the newer model, which looks exactly the same, but if it's different, it will have 30 years of technology improving it. Okay, so I got a bit of flux here, and I got my solder. Okay, and let's start trying to solder these wires together now. Perfect, one out of the way. There it is. Now I'm just cleaning the tip of the iron. But that's 2 wires done. So now I can focus on the other 2 wires. And before I start, just put a little bit of resin, flux resin. What's the name of this? I completely forgot now. Flux, yes. Just put a little bit of flux to make sure that all contacts are clean. Heat it up, let the flux float away, and I'm going to open the windows. Okay, so now you hear a lot of noise. This is my circulating fan pulling air in. So moving on to the next wire. And there's another good solder done. Need to put sleeves in these so that after I solder the other ends they will have sleeves, because it's a mistake that every single person who does soldering does at some point, and does it repeatedly actually. But this time I'm not gonna be caught out by it. Okay, so just need to heat those up. Okay, so now onto the opposite end. So I've just spent a minute trying to clean this tip, but I couldn't, so I will leave that for later. But as of right now, I have a soldering iron hot, and all I have to do is solder those 4 remaining wires. So only 2 wires to go now. And the final thing is just to put the sleeves in, which I did not forget for a change, and then test everything. So I've plugged the battery now, and this is the moment of truth. Yeah, just finding out if this makes a noise or not. Of course I can't run it for very long, because it's not supposed to run dry, but yeah. I'm gonna use my override switch to trigger this with everything else switched off, and let's see if there's any noise coming out of this. So we have success as far as wiring is concerned. I just need to get some electrical tape to put all of these together. I ran out of it, so I need to go and shop for some more. But well, let's continue fitting this and then call it a day. So what I need to do is just unplug those 2 clips, remove the T-junction, replace with this, route the wires, and done. And you played your game of love. Bad name. Okay, that's definitely through. That's definitely through. Just position the pump, and yeah, this seems very, very fat compared to the old pump. It didn't look that fat, but it is rather fat. So a small improvisation here now is to remove the sleeve and give it something else. Now I've got this bicycle inner tube. It's same type of rubber, but it's thinner. So I'm just gonna cut a slice of it, put it here, and that will hold it without needing to squeeze too much the metal. There we go, an M5 works, a couple of washers. Now an eye lock nut would probably be better, but I am not very fond of them, so I'm not using one even though I have them. This is not as essential as other things, even though it goes through a lot of vibration. There we go, the pump won't go anywhere. Just for a final touch, not a final touch, just for a final check, I'm gonna switch it on again and confirm that everything is running with the cables, and then I will sort out the cables. Yes, pumps running, pumps installed. Well, I'm not going to fill it up with water because I got no radiator right now, but I'm confident that this won't leak, and if it does, it's just a matter of tightening. Oh, actually, I forgot to tighten this up. Good point. Okay, so I'm now off to Screwfix to get some electrical tape to tape these together. Get a couple of 3, 4, whatever zip ties. Then it will be just one single cable, just like it's intended to be. I'll probably should have a sleeve like that around it, but I don't have anything to do that job at the moment. Oh, that would be funny. Right, back in a minute. And we're back with some electrical tape. So now I can actually tape everything together. Okay, last thing to do is just keep those two together with some zip ties. And probably route it somewhere where it won't burn. The coolant won't be at more than 100 degrees, so I think I'm probably safe routing it through that coolant line and then into here. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, but after I zip tie them two together. And there we are. A bit excess cabling, not a problem, it's not a big deal. Can always try to shorten it somehow or route it from around there. That may be better to keep it outside of the heat sources. Let's try that. See how that works. Nope, that doesn't work. Yeah, I guess I can put a zip tie to ensure that it's looped around here. Yeah, that will be just fine. So I guess now that it's all installed, I just need to plug the battery again, confirm that I hear the noise, and I'll be done with this one. Works, fitted, good. Well, that's it for this video. I hope that me replacing my recirculating pump and showing you the issues that I had with the Mercedes replacement and how I overcome them helps you fix your car if you ever need to. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.